What is up, you guys? It is Stu and my sweet little Piper here. Today's video we're going to be taking Piper from a Bronde to this color because it's going to be matching this extension color that I'm super excited for. This is the Stu and it's going to be the newest color that Jay-Z Styles has to offer. So if you want to learn how to color match the Stu perfectly, stay tuned.
You can do better. Let me show you what a good time looks like. You can do better. So much better. I don't fit into your parts.
Alright, you guys, so we're going to start off mixing up a low light formula. We're going to be doing a few different things for this transformation. We're obviously wanting to tone her down, so that's why I'm mixing up 6N, 7N, and 7GB for my low light formula. The reason I'm putting in that GB in there is to fill the hair because I don't want it to go muddy or green.
Baby, dance the night away. I'll kick my shoes off if I want. Let yourself be free and maybe you will find that there is more to life than being pretty. Honey, let's just face it. You can do better. Let me show.
And the next thing we're going to be mixing up is for her face frame, and to break it up a little bit with some highlights, we're going to be using Gold Raw Oxycure with 20 volume and then 1/16 of Olaplex. You guys know, if you've seen any of my videos, that this is my go-to lightener. It is the best. It has a great lift to it, but it's also very gentle on the hair. So starting off with her sectioning, I have a little bang box at the front, everything from behind her ears forward, falling off of her natural part, sectioned away. I have a square in the back, and I just dip that down low past where her cowlick stops splitting open, and then everything else we just have open. I'm going to be starting off with her face frame, and I usually go off of diagonals just because I feel like it works with the face and pushes that brightness forward, but I'm going to be doing it a little bit different. We kind of want her money piece to stand out, so I'm going directly off of her hairline with just a few slices, 2 slices to be exact, and then we're going to be breaking it up, and we're going to be doing really fine baby lights just so it's not one big stripe, and we're just going to be continuing this back through where her bang box is at.
If I want.
So as soon as I'm done tackling that bang box, what I'm going to be doing is carving out a mohawk sectioning. We're going to be going straight back on horizontals for the mohawk today because anytime you want to add contrast, that's going to be the best way to achieve it. If I was to go straight up off the sides of her head doing a horizontal section, that's going to give me maximum coverage, but this going straight back like I'm showing you here is going to make sure that I add in those contrasts. We're going to be throwing in those low lights, and it's just going to help us achieve that look better. So I'm going to be breaking it up, and I'm going to be doing a few baby lights, a few shadow lights, and a few full low light. So what a shadow light is what you're going to be seeing here, and we're not going to be taking that low light and covering it all the way. We're just going to be blending it past where her line of demarcation is at, and that's just going to help us diffuse those lines but still keep her ends bright. And then we'll go through adding some full low lights and then back to adding in a baby light just to keep breaking up that root area. We're just going to be following the same pattern throughout this and then switching it up a little bit on the sides and in the back. Something I did want to mention is whenever I am low lighting, I am mixing my Shades EQ with 10 volume, and so many people ask me questions on this, and the only reason that I do this is because it's going to be adding in longevity. 10 volume is going to be giving me a little bit of lift with a whole lot of deposit, unlike Shades EQ's processing solution. So I feel like anytime that I want to ensure longevity, I just go ahead and mix it with tin volume. Hydrogen peroxide is hydrogen peroxide at the end of the day. It's still going to be doing its job. I know it can be scary to mix different lines with mix different colors with different developers or whatnot, but I promise you this trick has never let me down. The tones and everything have the same result. It's just going to be staying a lot longer. I want to make sure that Piper here gets longevity out of her color so she doesn't have to come back with faded and low lights, because there's no way we can go through and just pick apart and try to pick up all the same low lights that we've added in and try to refresh those. So ensuring longevity where processes like this, when you're adding in subtle dimension and not just an all over color, is super important, just to try to add longevity wherever. So that's why I go ahead and use tin volume with this.
Show you what a good time looks like. You can't do better, so much better.
So now you can see Jessie is going to be going up the sides of her head, just continuing that low light, highlight, low light, highlight. The only thing she'll be doing differently here is that she's not going to be doing any of the shadow light. She's just going to be pulling those low lights all the way through, so it really breaks up all of her blonde that's in the interior of her hair, and then we're going to continue the same process towards the back of her head.
You don't have to hide it, baby. Let your head down, be a little wilder, baby.
So what Jessie's going to start off by doing is doing a few centered foils at the nape of her head, and then we're going to be going into more of a brick-lay pattern, doing 2 to the left, 2 to the right, 2 to the middle as we're moving up her head. This is just going to help break it up. When it comes to the back of the head, lately I've been playing around with brick-lay patterns, and it seemed to just work wonderful for me, and it actually saves you a little bit of time in the salon, but still gives you the same result as if you were to do something that was super detailed with your section work. Now that she's worked her way up to the square up top that we had sectioned out, she's going to be doing the same thing that I did through the mohawk, doing the shadow light, highlight, low light, shadow light, highlight, and continuing that process. So while Jessie is finishing up foiling, now that I'm completely done up front, what we're going to be doing is going through and smudging down her dropouts. What I've got mixed up is Goldwell Colorant 7N 6A, and what this is going to do is richen up her base a little bit and also help blend the line between her natural hair and her previously lightened ends. This is just going to be another step to ensure that everything blends super nice together. It does take a little bit of extra time in the salon, but I promise you, you won't regret it if you do this. So now that she is done processing, she did sit for about 45 minutes. We just needed to make sure that we waited long enough to make sure her highlights lifted properly to the level that we were wanting. She's now about a perfect level 9, and that is awesome to work with for this process. I'm going to start off by mixing up her root smudge, and I'm doing 6N, 7NB, and this is one of my favorite go-to roots for anybody who's more of a Bronde kind of look or a dirty blonde. It is amazing, and I wanted to put this in here because once she rinses her with something like this, it can look a little bit scary, but the first step we're going to be doing when it comes to rooting and toning her is put Olaplex on her mids to ends. What this is going to do, this is just going to ensure that that root doesn't smudge down any further than we want it to. We want to make sure that we're getting it everywhere, especially on those money pieces, and then we can go in and start rooting. I'm just going to be taking this formula and start smudging her down about 2 inches in the back to 1 inch in the front. This is going to keep it where it's almost like a teardrop effect. It's going to be brighter towards the front but have more depth towards the back of her head, more of like almost like a balayage look in the way. I'm not going to be smudging it down so far that it has the appearance of a balayage. The 6N, 7NB is going to complement her natural hair really well, so she's not going to be having any lines or anything like that. Whenever her hair is growing out, it's going to grow out really seamless, and this root is also just going to help blend everything together. Something we cannot forget to do because we are looking to get that perfect blend. I keep going back to this is going to help it blend perfectly, is brush through each quadrant when we're done rooting it. This is going to distribute the product enough just to bring it down a little bit further than what we have applied it to help create that seamless transition from her root to her Bronde mids and ends.
Let me show you what a good time looks like. You can't do better, so much better. I don't fit into your box. Beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your box. Beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. You can. Baby, let your head down, be a little wilder.
So we've let that root sit about 10 minutes, and now we're just going to be clipping away her money pieces just to make sure that those stay super nice and bright and pop and do what they're exactly meant to do. Now we're going to go with our all over toner, which is Shades EQ 7GB, 8V, 9NB, and 7NB. Basically what I'm going for is an all over pretty beigey tone. This is to tone all of her dropouts, and then it's going to be ashing it out a little bit with the 8V. The level 8 is going to be giving it a little bit of depth, but the violet in that is going to be ashing it out like I was saying, and it's going to be the perfect tone. So we're going to let this sit for honestly about 5 to 10 minutes, just watching it, checking it, lathering it. I did leave her root in, and what we're going to be doing after this is just going through. Then what we're going to do is just go through and smudge down where her money piece is at, and then go ahead and let that sit for at least 5 minutes, and then tone her money pieces separate with the same formula.
If I want, let yourself be free, and maybe you will find that there is more to life than being pretty. Honey, let's just face it, you can do better. Let me show you what a good time looks like. You can do better, so much better. Beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. Fit into your box, beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. I want to be silly.
Now that she is all styled, we have her sectioned out for her first horseshoe. This is the first time this do is ever being put in. This color is going to be available to Jay-Z Styles Co.'s website and in-store very, very soon, within the next month or so. I am so excited about it because it is the perfect cool tone blonde, which I felt was really missing from the extension world. Now that we have this all sewed in, we're going to be adding a few tape-ins, and you guys, I just can't get over it. This is my color. I've worked so hard on putting it together, and Jessie and her team, and here is the after. I'm going to be inserting some pictures of me seeing the color for the first time and it installed in Piper as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and then you guys can always follow me over on Instagram at stu.styles with a Z at the end. Thank you guys so much for watching. I have a ton more educational videos coming, so stay tuned.
Your head down, be a little wilder. Baby, kick your shoes.